Hey, Bakugan content, what a concept. Hey everybody, this is Kodak here, and I know it has been a very, very long time since I've done any Bakugan-related content. Like, I think it's been over 2 months. Part of that is because I live on the East Coast, I am basically perpetually 2 waves behind everybody else. It feels like everybody, I'm at least 2 weeks behind everybody, which, seeing as my channel was originally built based on scoops, is not, the best. I've just been the guy who's been finding Bakugan for sale in unusual places. I'm the one who first spotted them at GameStop. I recently spotted them at Walgreens. I don't know if that's a new thing or not, but they seem to be a great source of the new core packs. However, this, I was lucky enough that my Target finally managed to get some stock in. Target has had a huge amount of trouble keeping these things stocked. They don't tend to get sent a lot of stock. There's still the problem where some things don't quite scan correctly. Like, according to them, they only had 2 of these on the shelf when they clearly had 4. So, who knows what's going on there? Maybe it's because they keep changing the item numbers with each subsequent wave. But anyway, this is a pack that's actually been really popular to show off online, and that is the Darkus Kelion pack. Kellion is, again, another Bakugan that I revealed back at Toy Fair. It was even the darkest version. It comes in Diamond as well, although I could not find the Diamond. A lot of people have been showing this off. I don't know if it's definitely the most recent starter that I've been able to get my hands on. I don't think it's so recent that it'll contain Age of Arless cards, or it might. I know this is like a wave after Pyravian, which did contain an Age of Arless card, so this might have some Age of Arless cards in it. That would be cool, because I haven't found Age of Arless cards anywhere. Walmart has stopped carrying the cards, and my local Target is still stuck at Resurgence. But anyway, here we have Darkus Kelion, supposedly challenge rating 3. That's going to be fun. We have the Darkus Kelion Ultra unfolded here. We also have, and the fact that it says Darkus Kelion tells me that it's not its default attribute. I'm not sure what Kellion's default attribute would be. It could be practically anything. It's a dragon, so it could be fire. It runs on clouds, so it could be Ventus. It's a divine beast, so it could be Chaos. Who knows? But speaking of Chaos, we do get a second brand new Bakugan in this set. Otherwise, I probably would not have bought it. This looks to be Chaos Hydranoid Core. And I hadn't even gone over Hydranoid Ultra here on the show. I've shown off the prototypes back in February. But this is new. They didn't have the core at the event. And of course, we also have the old Pyrus Pegatrix up here. At least I'm pretty dang confident that's what this is. I think I'm getting closer to having a full set of Pegatrix as well, the same way I got all 7 of the legendary Dragon Balls. But quick look at the back. Man, these things are boring to watch, aren't they? I'm sorry, guys, but yeah, here we have the Kellion. How does it look compared to the prototype? It looks pretty similar. It looks almost the same. The image here just has a bit of a richer purple. I guess that's because of the light that they use, but here we have Bakugan Ultra, Bakugan, Bakucords, ability cards, character cards, instruction sheet, and Bakutoid battling rules sheet. So the instruction sheet is obviously for folding Kellion. We have the case. The cases have started to become really hard to find. I'm not seeing places that seriously carry these anymore, which is a shame because I thought they actually sold rather well. And nobody has the Red Arena in the United States yet. Distribution's been a bit of a mess. Oh, this is new, the YouTube Bakugan. I don't know if that was on the original packaging, although the front, again, doesn't have any set indicator on it. The distribution's been a bit of a mess. There were some people who were getting Maximus Dragonoid back in the summertime. There were places that were getting Deca Bakugan and the Red Arena long before any of us got anything. That's just what happens. Anyway, let's get this thing open. Don't know if I've seen that before. It's actually held in the packaging with the this little strap here. And of course we have an up-to-date list loaded with new characters and misspellings. We have amazing new characters like Golem and Triceratops. We also have some other ones that I don't think we've seen before. We have Kellion, although they spell it here Kellion. We have a lot of these characters in their default, so I guess Kellion would be Pyrus default, as I estimated. We also have the Triceratops, which is clearly supposed to be Trino Ultra. We have the regular Scorpios, we have Zentar, Hydranoid, and it's supposed to be called Cloptor, but they called it Cyclops in the picture here. We have Fade Ninja in a color other than Diamond. We have a a number of things here, although we don't have anything yet from the Armored Alliance. Armored Alliance apparently is going to have some kind of support piece, and I like Battle Gear, and everybody hates it. I thought people liked Battle Gear. What happened there? I mean, yeah, the support pieces did eventually get pretty dang out of hand, but Battle Gear I thought were actually really good for the meta. They had just a tiny little B-point bip along with a possible special ability. They were all really cool in my opinion. But anyway, going into the box here, yes, the cards, except for the one for Pyrus Pegatrix, are all Age of Arless cards. That increases my Age of Arless collection to 6? Oh man, I feel like I'm falling behind now that nobody is carrying Age of Arless. It's gonna get even worse. I don't think any of my local hobby stores have picked it up. But anyway, yeah, they are Age of Arless cards mixed in here. So along with our Kellion Ultra and our Hydranoid and our Pyrus Pegatrix, we get the card Futility, which is a 2-cost Darkus flip, which stops Arless, Chaos, and Ventus. We have Kellion Ultra, which is a 303, which has something similar to the Pegatrix effect in that if it lands on a core and it brings 2 to the party, it gets plus 300 B power and plus 2 damage. Plus 2 damage? Plus 2 damage. So it's a slightly not as good Pegatrix. It gets slightly higher damage than Pegatrix, but not the same B power. It also doesn't have that nice decent 500 base that Pegatrix works off of. Both versions of Pegatrix get that nice beefy base. But I think the big attraction for Kellion has always been its design, and we'll get into that once we get back into the others. It comes with a plus 2 and plus 3 damage, so again, a lot of that Darkus aggression going on there. We have Chaos Hydranoid core, 300 shield, plus 1 damage. So I have plus 1, 2, and 3. A nice little count up there. The only high power cores I'm seeing here are the plus 3 fist and the plus 300 shield. Again, you kind of want to go as high as you can. I'm not really seeing a use for the plus 1 or the plus 2. Chaos Laser, 4-cost plus 800 B power. It only gets 100 more B power at the cost of 1 more energy. It is not as good as Bone Defense. It's not as practical as Bone Defense. Its exchange in power is just not as good. It's a worse Bone Defense, which is kind of funny, seeing as it's a laser busting through a shield when Bone Defense is a shield holding up under the strain. And then we have Pyrus Pegatrix. It's a Magic Shield Fist, plus 600 and 1 plus 150 plus 1. A 304, which is actually below par and no special effect. It does have an Evo that gives you the ability to reroll, and it's a common card. So this one is, at the moment, unless it gets another Evo that makes it stronger, it's honestly kind of trash. And it comes with the card Wreathed in Flames, which is 2 energy for plus 5 damage. It is the Pyrus equivalent of Dark Boost, I believe, is the equivalent card that's also 2 energy for plus 5 damage. They've basically been rounding out a lot of the numbers for each of the attributes in order to basically give everybody the same kit. Darkus and Pyrus basically get the same kit with a lot of their basically default power cards, and I guess they're trying to do the same with Chaos and Aquos. I don't know if there's an Aquos 3 energy plus 700 card yet, but we'll see. And here we have Kellion Ultra. Seems a bit rough around the edges now that I look at it. And again, it's the Darkus plastic, and the Darkus plastic is just kind of a crapshoot when it comes to quality. I mean, even here we can see it's a bit subtle, but we can see that there are 2 different colors of purple plastic here. You can see how this one is on this side is slightly bluer than the one right here. But anyway, it's a lever type, and this is the lever. So lever types have been a bit troublesome when it comes to grabbing and staying on cores. It's a bit of a mess visually from the outside. It, of course, has a lot of those large points that are designed to not interfere with the tire, but these joints here are a little bit loosey-goosey. This is, when it comes to marble design, Kellion is a bit on the weak side, even for an Ultra. I mean, we have the arrow here, we have this ridge here that I believe we've also seen on Maxitor. I don't know if this mark has any kind of significance. This is literally on the face of Maxitor here. So Kellion, actually now that I look at it, it looks a little bit like it's Maxitor upside down. Maxidor had the same mark. I don't know if this mark has any kind of significance, but it might be worth noting about. And here we have our Darkus Kelion. We got the 300 on the back there, and I must say that when it comes to standing, for a lever type, this thing is remarkably well behaved. It never ever kicked the core. I wonder if that's because, due to its quadrupedal nature, it doesn't need that same sort of oomph to stand up the way ones like the ones that constantly kick the core, like Dragonoid Ultra, or the ones that are double levered like Pyravian tend to be. It actually doesn't have a lot of power into its jump to stand up, and yet it still is able to stand up reliably perfectly fine. Anyway, core comes off, and Kellion actually has a lot of additional steps in order to fully transform it. It, of course, has these nice, blindingly bright lime green antlers, which go up like that, and the back plate has several things that poke out a little bit. I'm actually not entirely sure why they did this, because, as I said before, Kellion is based on a Chinese mythological beast called a Kellion, or you might have heard it also called a Kirin if you're going by the Japanese. The Kellion is basically, I referred to these as antlers before, so I guess this is an early Christmas episode, Merry Christmas, because a Kellion is basically a deer covered in dragon scales that can run on clouds, which is why I was wondering if maybe it would be Ventus, because it has that cloud running ability. Funny thing is, this thing, it was a part of Chinese mythology, but then a bunch of people from China went to Africa and they saw this thing called a giraffe, which was huge, and it had horns, and it had markings on it that looked like scales, and they were like, oh my god, Kellions are real. I don't know if that adds to the magic or subtracts from the magic. Like, there was always a gag that black swans weren't a thing until they were discovered in Australia. And a theory I've heard is cultures came up with the concept of dragons to begin with because people were finding dinosaur bones and weren't sure what to do with them. Yeah, those dragons you keep hearing about, they're real. They're called dinosaurs. But anyway, taking a look at Darkus Kelion here, it does look a lot better when it's fully opened up. It even has some cool stuff going on here with like these folding plates, these like spring-loaded folding plates that go from the sphere mode and actually turn into like barding on the thing. It doesn't really have much of a tail. In fact, it kind of looks like the underside of Ultra Dragonoid's tail there. We have again the number there. Like I said, really interesting design. I love how the horns are, again, that nice neon lime green to make it really pop out against the darkest features. Same with the eyes. Are the eyes detailed? The eyes have a little bit of detail to them, and some minor green there. The way the colors pop is very nice. It's well behaved. It does look kind of funny. I don't know if people might confuse this for the eyes instead. These little points here, the metal joints for the horns, the antlers. That's my only real concern. Is it looks kind of like it's wearing a mask on top of its head when you do that. It's some sort of weird dragon thing with wearing a kind of funny colored reindeer mask on it. Happy Decemberween, everybody. So not much going on for Kellion otherwise. It does have the Maxitor mark on here for the Ultra. I don't know if that has any significance in the show or in the lore or what's it, but they say it's a level 3 to close, but it is not hard to close at all. You just bring up the front legs, you push everything else together, and then upon closing the head, it just slips in the gap there. Remarkably easy to change. So that's a look at Darkus Kelion. And here we have Chaos Core Hydranoid. It was the original Hydranoid was called Hedera in the original Japanese because it was based on King Ghidorah, which is a kaiju. Although it's a mixture of Ghidorah and Gigan. It's Ghidorah in that it has 3 heads, and it's Gigan in that it still has arms and has that big buzzsaw in the middle. But this Hydranoid seems to take out more after the Hydranoid, the Hydra of Greek legend, which is a multi-headed, very, very poisonous beast. Anything with like multiple heads like this is typically referred to as a Hydra. In this case, we have a full suite of 5, and we have some legs there, although the Hydra in old mythology didn't have legs, but we have the hexagon underneath here again, which means that our character, our legs, are built similar to those of Tertonium or Trino. It's kind of interesting seeing these sorts of repeated elements. I mean, I guess it saves them some design space, and these are the cores. They're not really the thing that they go fully all gusto on. Got some nice ridges on the neck there. We have some nice detail on the butt. I wonder what where this thing's butt power is going to be. We have some detailed claws in the front. Reminds me of, like, it looks kind of like an ice monster with all of this added detail on there. Oh no, I was only joking about butt power! Oof. Anyway, here is Chaos Hydranoid. Very, very simple, very elegant. It does indeed borrow a lot from, like, Trino and Tertonium in that it has sort of a base with these little legs that swing out with the curved surface there, and the heads on the top. The heads are, unfortunately, not painted on the inside, which is a bit of a wasted opportunity. It also has sort of the reticulated neck design like old Nilius there. It also has these marks here, which I would assume would be beetle-like wings, but I think they're just supposed to be the back. I like the idea of Hydranoid having wings a bit better, though. Again, with the nice Chaos plastic, everything pops really nicely. I can even make out the heads fairly well without a lot of help. Still, I kind of wish that these were painted. I guess this is a nice opportunity for custom modders, because there's a lot of great detail on there. And of course, we have a giant arrow pointing us around to where his butt power is located, 400. It's interesting seeing this base going on here. It actually kind of reminds me of how a lot of old Bakugan were basically just like a lower half with, like, the top half that has all the action that goes on, and they've clearly improved on it a little bit, iterated on it a bit with the addition of these legs that also flip out in order to give us a nice design. It is, again, another core that does look good from pretty much any angle, although I guess it looks a bit like a hand from back here. I mean, we're also going to have some more that maybe look a bit like this. Close up the legs, and it basically is a hand, although which head is the thumb? I imagine they would fight over that. That's kind of an interesting insignia on the front. I guess that's supposed to be like a chest plate, although that's an awfully large any belly button he's got there. Anyway, Hydranoid is actually harder to close than Kellion, I would say. It actually has a few steps. It goes, let's see, tail, center head, middle heads, outer heads, then feet. And you have to do it in that order or else it won't close. Very simple. Let's see. I keep trying to do it. Like, there's a disc launcher for Screecher's Wild that lets you, like, shoot the disc at the car to activate it rather than rolling the car onto it. I was kind of hoping they'd have something like that for Bakugan. That would actually be pretty neat. But, yeah, so that is a look at Hydranoid and at Kellion. Let me, Anyway, that's a look at Hydranoid and at Kellion. I mean, we also had Pegatrix too, but we've had Pegatrix in here a few times, so I don't think we're really missing out on much by not giving her a lot of coverage in this, although, the green looks very nice. I imagine it's going to be the same green we have on, I imagine Kellion Pyrus has the same sort of green applications to it, so we can get really Christmassy up in here if we can get that Kellion. So, anyway, that's a look at some new stuff for the new wave. I'm going to see if I can get my hands on some Age of Arless cards. That would be great. I mean, more than the 6 I have. 5 of them came out of this set, and 2 of them were character cards. So I really only have 4 Age of Arless ability cards, which means I'm unfortunately missing out on a lot. And of course, there is the upcoming Armored Alliance. I'm actually a little surprised the TV show got renewed. I got bored after 26 episodes, which is why I haven't reviewed it yet. I dread the thought of going back to watching it, and, you know, if I dread the thought of watching it, why should I watch it? We're gonna see what happens with Armored Alliance. Like I said, I'm honestly surprised that, I mean, yes, I will say that the support pieces got out of control. That is basically what I led off my Bakugan card game with. But I'm hoping that the stuff they're coming out for Armored Alliances is kept under control. They've done a decent job of keeping things under control so far, although now they've put out, like, the Decas, and they've put out these $20, like, vinyl action figures now. We'll see if they can control themselves. I imagine that if they do put out a Battle Gear-like thing, that the Battle Gear itself will have an energy cost, or will have some other requirement to get it into play. I imagine it'll have, like, some special cards that go next to your Bakugan character cards with the requirements to play them, etc., etc. We'll have to see what happens as time goes on. But anyway, this is a look at Chaos Hydranoid. Hey, that's got some added alliterative appeal. And Darkus Kelion, and until next time, I hope you learned something.
Bakugan brawl, it's a big brawl. Bakugan brawl is for it all. Bakugan brawl, standing tall, we're the awesome ones. Powers in our hand, take a